Hey everyone, Erin from the Impatient Gardener, and I'm just checking out this combination of cosmos that I'm going to plant here. This is Sonata White. It's a short growing white one, and this is one called Peppermint Stick, which is a pink with sort of a white stripe in it that is also short growing. I'm not sure if it's as short as the Sonata, but we're going to combine the two and see what they look like. We're going to plant these in the Belgian fence, underneath the Belgian fence in the vegetable garden, and I thought it was high time we have an update to see what that's looking like first. So I'm going to get you in for a closer look here in a second, but I want you to get kind of an overview of at least half the fence. It's a little hard to see the whole thing at one time, but I want you to just see the general concept here, which is that everything is growing great, and I couldn't be happier about it. There's a few little things that need a little bit of correction, but for the most part, things are moving along here. So the first thing I want to show you is that the end sort of pillars of the fence all are doing great. So when I first cut this, I had a lot of people who, when they saw me cut this, say, Erin, you should not have cut that. How are you going to get this to grow? So I did cut it for two reasons. One was that I wanted to make sure to encourage growth side branch on it, but also trees have this thing where basically they send all of their hormones to the top. Their job is to grow tall. So if I would have left this long, it would have been very hard to develop this branch, and it would have quickly shot up to the top. As you can see, I just trained a branch straight up, and already it's the most dominant thing in this Belgian fence. I will top this at the top of the fence. I'm not going to let it grow any higher than the top of the fence. And the next thing to do on these end pieces is that in order to make the diamond design work, I need to encourage a branch about here to grow up and cross. Now, I think I'm going to be able to do that. When I'm pruning, I will prune a lot, all of these middle pieces back to just a couple of leaves, but I will leave the one that I would like to branch heading out. If that doesn't work, the other thing I can do is something called notching, which is where you actually cut a little bit into the cambium layer and right above where you want a branch to form, and that sort of stops the hormonal push upright, just enough to push a lot of hormones into to create that branch. So in order to do the design, I will need to make a branch here, and then on the next one, we'll need to make a branch about here to go this way. But that's probably, not a this year thing, just starting this year. Remember, this is a long-term project. So anyway, for anyone who was concerned when I cut off the end pieces, they are all doing great. In fact, they're the best ones because they're the ones heading straight up in the air. So this is the center post, and on both sides of the fence, the center post didn't do as well as the other ones. My theory on that is that the concrete that the posts are laid into, it's right next to that. So there's some barriers there, but there's two things here that we need to correct. The first thing is right here at the bottom. You see these green leaves? I have this on 2 or 3 of them. This is growth coming from the rootstock. So you can see, so this is a crabapple, but it's from, or whatever, I assume it's a crabapple. I guess I shouldn't say that. It might be actually on apple grafting stock. But anything that comes from below the graft, which is this gnarly bit, you want to make sure to cut that off, because that will probably be more vigorous than the top growth. And obviously we want this beautiful purple of the royal raindrops that we have here. The other thing is that this one did get nibbled by rabbits last year, so I let a bunch of branches grow so that I could make sure that we would have a couple of good ones to tie in. So I actually have 4 branches here, and the first thing I'm going to do is that one has rather obviously started going this way. So this is the one we're going to train this way. So the next thing I need to do here is decide which branch is going to go this way. None of them are long enough to actually tie in at this point, but I think it's pretty obvious there's one that wants to head that way. So I'm going to cut off these other 2 so that more energy goes into that guy. And then also this one there. So now as this one grows, I will tie it in going here. This is probably the worst one in terms of growth. I'm also going through and just clipping in any of the growth. Now, I don't like to clip it in right at the top, because once again, it will grow faster if I allow it to go up a little bit before pulling it back down. So I will probably just sort of do this one here, And we'll let that grow a little. In fact, this one's got like a little bit of a bubble in it. So I'm gonna actually do it down here more. And then I'm actually gonna throw a second one on there, and then I will slide that up once this growth there. So this growth is still allowed to go up, and then as it grows, we'll straighten that out to here. Okay, there was the same situation on this side. Because of the rabbit situation last year, I sort of left a few extras here, but I can obviously get rid of this one now because this one, which I tied in last year, is going good, and this one is going in the right direction too. There's one little guy right here. I'll just cut him out. So these are all going in the right direction. I think I will put a little, tie that in there. I really prefer, I had tied these on originally with this plastic tape, but I really prefer these little clips because it holds it on there tighter, but there's plenty of room for the branch to move around in there and grow in there in case I don't, you never know. What if you forget? So, okay, so here's the whole view of the Belgian fence. And I couldn't be happier with how much growth it put on in 1 year. So with any luck, we're a little bright down there. There we go. With any luck, we'll see just as much growth this year. Okay, so now I'm going to underplant this with these cosmos. So this spring I did white tulips kind of dotted with pink tulips, and I'm just going to keep that same theme going, and I'm going to do mostly white with the peppermint stick cosmos sort of dotted in there. I've got a 2-to-1 ratio basically, so hopefully this will just be sort of a wash and just kind of a nice beautiful white cloud, which I thought would be really pretty against the purple foliage of the crabapple. By the way, the crabapples did not bloom this year. I'm not the least bit surprised. They're baby trees, so there were no flowers this year, but that is not a surprise to me. I would say maybe in 2 years we should be looking at flowers. I think even next year would be a little early for that. Okay, now I just need to get these planted. Okay, so kneeling on gravel is for the birds. Anyway, I didn't end up using 12 of the pink ones because I felt like I wanted this to be way more white than pink. I got plenty of spots to put those. And I decided to just pick those 2 flowers just so you guys could see them because isn't that going to be pretty and delicate and nice? I grew those from seed, by the way. And I might have started them a touch too early, but they look pretty good. I think they're happy to be in the ground. Okay, so that's the update on the Belgian fence. I think I made it clear. I'm pretty happy with how it's going. Hope this combo right here works out great. But I'm hoping in my head, it's always what's in my head. We never know what ends up in reality, but in my head, I'm hoping for this frothy white sort of skirt for underneath these beautiful purple foliage of the Belgian fence, which is, as I said, going well. All right, I hope you guys are having a great day in your garden, and we'll see you soon.
It's the only way to go. I've been waiting for the fallout in the middle of the night in this dynamite castle. and me will